So yeah, Neil Gaiman has got sexual assault. What's it called? Accusations leveled against him. Um, and I'm just gonna read over like some of the accusations that came out recently. Um, so she's allegedly initiated sex. Jeez, I can't actually read all these. Um, he was accused by was it 5 women? I think it's 8 women in total over the last few months of sexual assault against these women, and it says these sexual misconduct by 8 women, and that overall, I'm not even sure what to say about this. Like ultimately, Neil Gaiman has been like a phenomenal writer. I don't know if he's a director, but he's
No, just a
written a
writer.
lot of like great stories in pop culture for the last like what 30
Like
years or so.
30 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of these accusations have come out, and they're actually really, really dramatic. And so, some of the questions, what's always come up are like, I don't want to like, I don't want to like sound any kind of particular way, but Joe was like, okay, where do these accusations come from? How are they all coming up now? What is the goal of these accusations? If there is any goal, is this for clarity or is this for leverage of some kind?
Well, I think it's the same questions that would happen with any high profile case where these kind of allegations come up, right? Same thing with Diddy, same thing with Cosby, same thing with Neil. Is like, why now? Are they true? The same questions. You run through the same questions.
And then like one of my main thing, my main questions is like, all right, so what's the cooperation level of these, right? How are these accusations? How have they been corroborated, or have they been documented? Have they, not that they need to be, to hear them out, but at the same time, it's like at the point when they're starting to have like consequences for the artists and their creative writings. And at the moment he's got like I think 2 shows going on, and a movie that they're working on between Sandman, Good Omens, and I think they're working on a movie, or they just did a Coraline movie, remade Coraline movie, I think. And of course, he's got a bunch of stuff out, and so like you were mentioned before with Diddy, it's just like, what's the level of
From what I'm reading here, I think Neil faces the same problems as Diddy, as Cosby, as in most of these other guys who get accused. What, eight women accusing him of this? So, like, if you go by the percentages, maybe 2 of them
like
are
Diddy's
true,
a
3
whole
of them.
thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're all each to his own. But the point is the number of women that are accusing him. It's not like it happened once or twice. It's 8. It's 8 women. So you would hope a guy that's at the top of his career. I got first turned on to Neil Gaiman from the show American Gods. That show came out around the same time as Game of Thrones was on the air. And I saw an interview with Neil Gaiman and George R.R. Martin. And I mean, he seemed like, it's hard to tell how these celebrities are, these authors, whatever celebrity is, to an interview, but seemed like a down-to-earth guy, and generally authors are not the biggest movie star, like pop culture icons in the world. So, hopefully, I don't know what made his hubris think that he could get away with something like this if it's true, but
Well, yeah, let me read one of them, right?
not.
So I could read this one. I feel like, maybe not that one. Okay, fine. I'll just read this one.
Not that
Like
one.
some of these things is like so like they're so like wide. I just don't want to like. I don't know. Anyway, so Pavlovich claims the misconduct continued during her time there and only worsened. Gaiman once allegedly tried to have anal sex with her using butter as a lubricant, and they called her slave while
Hey,
ordering her to clean him up. And I can't read the rest of this.
hold on. I want you to read the rest of
Anyway,
that
so
juice.
like
That's kind of hot, bro.
says he said
Yeah, he said butter. Like, is that? I mean, I guess it's
Is that effective?
okay, so she said the abuse
I'm
was
just
so regular that
asking
even
inquiring
Gaiman's
questions
son.
about that butter.
She said even Gaiman's son began calling. Look, the link is in the
Yeah, you can read it on your own.
you can read that. So even Gaiman's
Hey,
son
he
began
went to
calling
he
her
went to he went to
slave
get a
and
stick of
ordering
butter from the
her
fridge.
calling her Gaiman's son began calling her slave and ordering her to call him master. She told New
I
York
can believe
Magazine
that.
while
Yeah,
babysitting
because
the
people.
boy at the hotel. While babysitting the boy at a hotel, Gaiman started having sex with her as his son was in the room. Says one woman asked to be identified only as Caroline says she was babysitting Gaiman's 4-year-old son in Woodstock, New York, around 2017 when she fell asleep while reading to the boy and Gaiman got into bed and grabbed her hand and placed it on his penis. Caroline claims Caroline claims the business manager offered her $5,000 in December 2021 to sign a non-disclosure agreement, but that Gaiman paid her $300,000 when she demanded as much. His representatives told the New York Magazine that she had initiated the sexual encounters.
So there were multiple sexual encounters.
And then Gaiman came out with a response.
So there were multiple sexual encounters.
Well, yeah. So apparently there were sexual encounters. Yeah. So some of this is like he's saying in his response,
it was consensual.
He came out. Just read what he's. Yeah, he said, there are moments that I have recognized as true, but the article also recounts incidents that emphatically did not happen. He came to have reread his text with the women, arguing that they read as two people enjoying entirely consensual sexual relationships. At the same time, and he says, at the same time, I reflect on my past and I re-review everything that actually happened as opposed to what's being alleged. I don't accept there was any abuse. To repeat, I've never engaged in any non-consensual sexual activity with anyone. So that's one of the things that comes up is like, all right, so yeah, you do have these two perspectives, right? These women who come out saying that, this was sexual assault, this was sexual abuse, and we're exposing him for his abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's saying, I thought all this was consensual. This seems like something that, like, we've done this before, yada yada yada. This is all normal, and maybe he said things like, maybe I should have been more open or honest, or a lot of his like regular social like miscommunication to him. And so like I guess
that's code. That's code word for if I'd have known this chick was gonna do all this, I never should have fucked with her in the first place. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is.
To a degree, but it's tricky because I think I was talking to my wife about this earlier, and they're like, because I'm trying to like process this, trying to make sense of this. Like Neil Gaiman seems like such a cerebral person that like this didn't seem within, and you never know a person, right? Like who thought R. Kelly was doing shit R. Kelly was doing, right? So you never
And then
know
now that we
anybody,
hear the
especially
lyrics in his
celebrity, who you
songs
see
years later,
and only through their works, right?
yeah. Well, years later, when we hear the lyrics in his songs, we probably should have known something was up, bro.
Maybe it's hard to tell. Step in the Name of Love. I never would have thought. You know what I'm saying? That's
Seems
like
like you're ready. Yeah, we should have known.
Oh yeah.
Girl,
yeah,
are you ready?
About this, and it's like, so at what point is this like, would this be considered like actual like abuse? And I guess like I talked to her and it's just like kind of laying out like, okay, to a degree, a lot of it is about power dynamics, right? Because for a lot of these women, these were nannies, people who worked for him, people within his circles that he had some kind of leverage over. right? And that is a issue, right? That's why you don't fuck your coworkers or whatnot, or if you're a boss, you're definitely not, right? Um, and so also it comes down to like there was one instance where you have the whole fame and celebrity part of it, right? Where one of these was like there was a girl at his book signing that like he banged her in the hotel after the book signing, right? And she was like 18, and it's like like these are like this is weird for me. You have those two together, it does show a pattern of of I guess abuse, right? Or at least potentiality, a moral failing of some point, of some kind, right? At least if you're like supposed to be like a public figure and you have some kind of sway. So anyway, for me, that was like a whole lot of working through, trying to like figure out, because there was this whole part of it where it's like the $300,000 came up, and it's like, okay, so they offered you 5,000, you took 300,000, and then you come out anyway. And it's like, all right, so what's the moral high ground here to a degree?
I think there's a lot of nuance with these situations that we're not seeing and that we're not privy to. And like, for example, the 5,000 versus 300,000, it's like the nuance of, they came to you saying, don't talk about this. And you're like, give me $300,000 and I won't say anything. But say anything to what degree, So it's like, there's that. And I also feel like that's a good point that you brought up as far as the power dynamic is concerned, because he also brought up the point of it being, he's saying, like, I thought this was all consensual, this was all agreed to. So there was another point brought up about it being multiple instances with the same person. So in essence, there could very well be some falsified accounts here, right? Like, but at the same time, what he's doing with them is only considered sexual assault based on the context that they present it, not with the context that he presents it. So that's another kind of issue. So there's a lot of gray area here. And it's just kind of like, that's kind of like where I kind of sit with this whole thing.
A whole other aspect of it is that like his wife was apparently like down with this. Like she didn't have any problems with it. In fact,
I heard they met. I heard he met. Well, what I read is he met a lot of these women through his wife.
Through his wife, right? And so that, in a way, does
that lends to the gray area.
Yeah.
Right. Like, were they swinging? Were they cool with this? There is such a thing as consensual sex between adults.
It seems like that there's an open relationship between him and his wife. Maybe it goes one way, maybe it doesn't. But in some cases, maybe it could have gone too far. But then once the money gets involved, right? Like once the money starts to get involved, and it's like the motive for telling these accounts, then it's kind of like, okay, why? Like,
why?
what's your end game here? As far as telling the stories of things that y'all may do on a regular, So again, that's kind of where I sit with it. A lot of unknowns.
And there also is a difference between abuse and sexual kinks, right? Like he wants to call the girl a slave and her call a master. That sounds more like a sexual kink than any kind of abusive, especially if they've done this multiple times and this is part of their,
like
it would be different.
Like, why is that included in this? Like,
right.
That is the thing they've done before. Like, when she said her son wanted to call her, his son wanted to call her a slave, I'm assuming it's because they've been saying it a lot of times.
Yeah,
And it's
around
not
him.
like around him, right?
Yeah.
And
Now
it
that's
wasn't
his
a
fault.
problem
'Cause
until you
I'd
bring
have
it up.
slapped my son. I'd be like, shut up, man. Don't be bringing that shit out in public, man. Damn. That's his
Yeah,
fault.
but
You should
even
have
still,
corrected
it's just
him.
like it's because because they're both engaging in this behavior over a period of time where it
Regularly.
seems
Yeah.
to him, to the
Yeah.
kid, it seems reasonable or normal, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then at that point, you're like, okay, well, unless he's not that like holding somebody against their will implies you have to chain them up or anything like that, because there's other ways. So, and which is where the power dynamic comes in, right?
Yeah.
But it's at the same time, it's just like I don't know, like, and you're right.
Like
It's the whole gray area. Like, where do you?
like it would be a little less gray if, like, let's say in these accounts, like they said, like, he beat the shit out of me, he
He chained me to the
physically
bed and left me for 3 days and shit. Yeah.
he physically abused me. Yeah, exactly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom, or some crazy shit, right? Like,
Something super egregious.
then it would have been less gray, right? Like, I'm not saying, I'm not gonna try to diminish any of these accounts, whether if they are true, but, like, it's still like, this sounds like things that y'all may be doing regularly, and it's just now you may have an ulterior motive for talking about it in this fashion, making it seem like you're trying to cancel the guy and or gain money from it. So I don't know, like,
Yeah, it's always tricky, man. Like, I have a hard time with stuff like this because you want to like you always try to separate the artist from the art from the artist, and that's like, I think at this point, at this day and age, right, you have to be able to do that, man. You can't like I think becoming a fan of a particular person because of the things they create is not going to be like feasible if you want to have like maintain some kind of character, unless like their work really reflects some like something crude or like abusive. But like, as far as I'm aware, Neil Gaiman's work has been not like completely wholesome. Of course, he writes like
it's dark
in-depth,
stories.
politically charged, like
Yeah.
emotionally charged novels. Yeah, very dark stories, but at the same time, it's just like, he's also seems pretty open-minded and like liberal,
Yeah.
and it's just weird, man.
Yeah.
So
It's good. No,
I
good.
have to question your level of sexual deviancy, though, when your son is comfortable enough to call his nanny slave or your girl slave. Like that. I mean, I know that's more of a moral than a lawful thing, but where or why are you letting your son that close to what you're doing? The little boy's
she's
young, right? How
literally the
old is your
nanny.
son?
He's the nanny.
So the girl is the nanny.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the son is calling the girl slave, which means he's heard the dad call the girl slave over and over. Like, why is your son this close to your sexual promiscuity? You know what I mean? That's what I would question. I know that's more like, it's not lawful. That's more moral, but but the thing that is
Like, you
from
can't
this
be
article
fucking.
that I'm reading on Yahoo News, there's
Uh-huh.
8 women in total who the explosive report describes in detail the disturbing allegations made by 8 women of the sexual assault, coercion, and abuse they suffered at the hands of the writer. So 8 women, though. This is just one example. So what about the other 7? So that's a little nerve wracking. But
Well, one of them had a stick of butter situation. That was another one.
I'm still curious. I'm like, damn, I want you to finish that part, man. You got to
Is that
send me the link to that article, man.
is that
Like,
is
what did
that
he do with the
Yeah,
butter,
it's
man?
in the chat.
What did he do with it?
is that is that effective? Like,
Did he warm it up first? Did he melt it?
I hope you.
Like, did
I
he
hope
take it
I
so.
hope you
cold
warm
out
it
the?
up first. Or
Yeah,
like,
he took it out the refrigerator cold and just put
Did
it
he
right
use
on.
did he use
where do you get the butter
warmth?
from?
Did he use did he use the warmth of the sphincter
Yeah.
to warm the butter? And that's
No way,
just
dog.
making
Is
it,
that even sanitary? I
and that's
mean,
just making the lube that the natural way.
Like, where were you when you had butter on hand but nothing
right.
else?
Did you order that from room service?
And,
Yeah, you have
and
nothing else. He's like, I would just use butter.
was it salted or unsalted? Like,
Yeah. Fucking
What
was
we
it
talking
margarine
about?
and shit?
was
Yeah,
it
it was like,
was it spreadable butter or was it a stick of
yeah, it
butter?
was
Like, what are we
spread.
talking
Hey, did
about?
he use the tub spread butter or was it stick?
And if
Stick
it
of
was
butter.
spreadable, if it
Was
was
it
spreadable,
margarine?
where'd you get the
It
butter
might have
knife?
been margarine.
I got more questions about the butter than the allegations.
Did it work?
You get the butter knife
Yeah.
from Hotel
Yeah,
Concierge?
just throw that
Like,
joint out there, man. He said he
You just
assaulted
use
her
your
with a
finger.
stick of butter. Like, damn. That's like, damn, Neil. Some free. Hey, and I got to give Neil props too. Just I know something you mentioned quick when you're reading Juice is that he met a girl at a book signing and had went back to the room with. I said, hey Neil, you pulling them at the book signings, man. That's some player stuff right there, man.
Well,
Go ahead, Neil,
that's
man.
I mean, that's the place that writers do pull them.
Isn't that crazy? Damn, right?
Right,
Pull
well,
at book
the
No,
signing.
no,
aspect of
that's
it.
like the natural environment for
That's
that.
wow.
Like,
I guess yeah,
Right.
because that's like their concert or something, you know.
Concerts,
exactly. Rock stars,
movie sets,
right?
fucking rock. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
book signings. It's
And
like
book
that's the
signings,
equivalent thing. Like,
yeah, you're right.
I'm sure YouTubers do meet and greets and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Yeah,
but and it's
yeah.
just like, okay, so we're like, there, that chick was 18. So there, and for me, that's what my like issue is.
He got away with that just
2017,
barely.
she's 18. He's 50 something, right?
Mhm.
Or 40 something. I don't know how old he is. But like, it's just like,
She's
okay,
still a
well,
child,
weird,
but
right?
by the letter of law,
You
he
know,
didn't break any laws. You know,
he's legal,
she's
right?
still a kid.
Still
Like,
a
come on,
moral
bro.
issue. But again, it's like, why? Arguably, that shouldn't even be included in this if we're, I don't know, we're going by the books, right? Like,
right.
why would that be included?
There's nothing exactly like wrong with what's been told to us, right? Like, or what's been revealed to us. Like, there's nothing exactly wrong with it, but at the same time,
It's a little weird.
It's still weird. Yeah, that's the word for it. It's still funny, you know, like not ha funny, just like
it wouldn't be me,
right, right. But it's like this is weird, but like it's not exactly wrong. So why are we even talking about these details? Like these details aren't necessarily that egregious, but I don't know. You know?
So I guess ultimately, like, my question is going to come down to you guys. All right, so where you guys at now with R. Kelly's music? Where y'all at now with the Cosby Show? You know, where y'all at now with Graduation?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily have a huge problem with separating the art from the artist, but like some things I can't forgive, you know, like, and that would make me more inclined. You know, I think we spoke about this a while back, but like that would make me more inclined to just do away with the whole fucking thing. Like, you know, R. Kelly, like I'm just like I can't, you know, because like I can't. Like I can't, I'm not going to, and I can't. But like Kanye, it's not that fucking crazy, you know, not that fucking crazy or egregious for me to stop listening to his music because his music is fucking dope, you know. At least the early years for me.
Oh shit, yeah.
But like, and then you have, you know, like Diddy, no. I didn't listen to his music anyway, but no, you know, like hard stop, right? And I feel,
Take that.
But like, I think like something I wanted to kind of bring up, like just as an aside, like a quick tangent, but like I think like a lot of people, like society, we give a lot of weight to celebrities that they shouldn't have, right? like their political standings, their opinions on anything, really. Like just because they're celebrities, they entertain us in movies or music or something having to do with our culture, American culture. Like we automatically like they whenever they have opinions about anything that is outside of that domain, then we automatically like gravitate to that because like oh they're so they're like in like they're my favorite actor or my favorite musician, so or like I'm really a big fan of them, so I'm gonna take everything they say and I'm gonna believe that, I'm gonna align my own beliefs to that. I feel like that's representative of a lot of people in society when it comes to like let's say Instagram and Twitter and you because you can easily interact with these people, not even really interact, but you can just like be you can feel like you're a part of their lives because they're
Right,
posting
right.
about all this other shit, right? So I feel like that has a lot to
You
do
relate
with
to
like
them, and you expect them. You kind of project because you relate to them. You do kind of
yes,
project onto them.
right, it's like you imprint onto them,
Hmm.
right? And it's like I think that has a lot to do with the difficulty
Yeah.
that people can feel with separating the art from the artist, no matter how egregious of a thing that they may have done, right?
Yeah.
So I think like that's just something that I try to think about when like shit like this happens. These kinds of situations come up where an artist who is very talented is being accused of something that is just like outside of the expectation that you might have of that artist
Mm-hmm.
based on the work that they've put out, and then it just kind of fucks with you in your mind a little bit, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
I try to not to think I try not to think about like I try to think about them purely for the art that they've put out, and then I try not to associate the things that they may have done so much, but like there are certain things that I just cannot condone, like
I think some of it's like human
pedophilia
nature.
and
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's definitely red lines, right? But
Yes, there
I
are
think
clear
I think it's
lines.
yeah, yeah. But I think a lot of it is like it's kind of human nature, right? Like so like how do you like I think I remember Joe Rogan or somebody on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about like um how people form tribes, right? Or how you form groups, and how groups are formed is like, you have people who you like and people who you relate to,
Hmm.
right? And if they're in the same groups as you, then you guys kind of build values around different things. And because of those values, as your group grows, right, then it's more likely that all those people in this group will kind of share similar values as it grows. Of
Yes,
course, it will
right.
diverge over time, and there's a number limit. I forgot what the max limit is. I think it's like 50 people in that group. That once it gets beyond that, then you start getting like wild expressions of or diverging
Like
ideas,
dissension, yeah, maybe,
distinction, right? And then because of those, the groups break up, blah blah blah.
right.
But like, I think that we have like, especially through the internet and the way media is now, and where our world is, we we look for those like-minded ideals only is rarely in your physical space.
Hmm.
So when we
Hmm.
find an artist that creates something that we relate to, we
Hmm.
kind of think of that person as in our tribe, right?
Yeah,
In a way, even though we've never met them before,
and we
we
may
consider
never
them. We may never meet them,
may never meet them, right? Like
right?
yeah, I
And
see that.
social media
Yeah.
kind of makes it like, even in another way, social media kind of makes it feel like we're even more connected to that person than we would have been in like the 50s or 70s or whatever. Where it's like we'll
Mm-hmm.
never like actually talk to them. We may actually be able to ping them on Twitter or whatever, X,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it. And then like and then we hear this diverging idea that they have that just doesn't fall in line, and then or they do some shit that's just like completely not cool,
Right.
and then we feel betrayed, right?
Yes. Yes. On some level, yep. That's human. I think to your point, that's human nature. That's human nature to agree. The need to belong to something, especially to someone who has achieved celebrity status in some kind of way, right?
Also, we
Because
see
that is
them
not
as a success. Like,
right. You see them as a hero. You see them as success. You see them as someone to look up to, a role model, right? And if you can in any way, shape, or form be close to that person, like you said, subconsciously, you automatically think that, oh, we're a team, we're a tribe, right? It's why so many people align to brands of things,
yes,
right?
exactly. Yep.
Nike, Nike, Adidas, whatever, like,
They represent comfortable staples that we're familiar with.
right. It's same thing. It could be with almost anything.
It's a
Sports,
tribal.
right?
It's a tribal kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, struggle.
sports, right?
Especially sports.
Sports, teams, right? Teams, tribes. You like this team, I like that team. We fight, even though we're not a part of those teams.
Nope.
And we might not even play football. We might not even play baseball. We might not even play basketball like that. Right? But like, I like this team, you like that team. We fight, and we're always at odds with each other. And we always argue about like stats and these players that we will never fucking meet. And it's like that's the psychologically that's like the kind of like the impetus for, or not the impetus, but the difficulty, where the difficulty lies in separating art from artists, right? Basketball players who are like murderers, right? Right, and it's like they're still allowed to play football. You're right. Correction. Some football players are like murderers, right? And it's like but like they're still allowed to play. They're still allowed to play, right? That shit is swept under the rug. They're still allowed to play, and and as long as they put up like 70 yards rushing, like 60, 70 yards rushing, and the QB throws 0 interceptions the whole season. And it's like, yo, let's go. Even though you killed a family, that's fine. Right?
Yeah,
you're a part of my tribe, right? So it's like, it's crazy. It's just crazy psychologically how that works. And it's like, you hear shit like this and it subverts your expectations, or it goes against your expectations of those people or that person. And it's just that much more difficult to separate. So anyway, that's just.
Yeah, we do mythologize celebrities to the point where like we're disappointed in their shortcomings as human beings. You know what I mean? Like we're surprised that, Kanye says something crazy in media when all we heard was Kanye's album. We didn't know Kanye as a person, so we didn't know his political affiliations. Or we just were disappointed that he said something crazy,
Or we may be disappointed, or people may be disappointed, but they then ignore it, or they push it to the side, or they just they just say like, nah, that can't be, right?
Yeah,
some crazy shit. Right.
Believe it or not. Like there's 2 reactions. Oh, there may be more than 2 reactions, but there's 2 distinct reactions I know. Is like either you hear something or you see something that a person you relate to and you idolize does. Your reaction is either I reject that and I distance myself from that person, which is it comes with the disappointment, or the other reaction is you deny it. Hey, you're lying about this person I like. I don't believe you, right, about them, right? Or they mean something else. And that's where you get the cult mentality.
Right. And the second reaction is more prevalent because the second reaction does not come with the pain of separation that the first reaction has. Right? Because even though, again, you may never meet this person in your life. The person doesn't even know who the fuck you are, and may never know who the fuck you are, and you will never have a conversation with them. You will never interact with them in any way. Even though social media brings you that one little tiny step closer to doing that, but like, once that idea comes out, or the accusations or whatever comes out, and it's like, I'm going to distance myself from this person. It's still internally, it's a struggle for you because it's about separating.
And
It's
that's what
about
we're talking about now, right? Is like
right,
my whole
right.
thing with Neil Gaiman is I enjoy Neil Gaiman's work, right? I've been a fan, and so when I hear these like discussions, it's like part of me is like,
Damn.
okay, I got to like, yeah, I'm like, damn, I feel like I separate myself from not my association, but like my interest in this guy, right? Because he may not be somebody who I would want to represent or I want to argue for, right? Who I want to stand up for, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, these allegations could be true. They could be true. So like maybe Neil or Kanye or Diddy or anybody else are not the person that we thought. Like you don't know someone. Like you said, you have to separate. Remember back in the day when we used to listen to rap music, Wu-Tang and all that, and our parents used to say, "Oh, you're gonna grow up to sell drugs. You're gonna go to jail because of the music you listen to." Like I think we always knew to separate the art from the artist, right? We always kind of just got that because I didn't know RZA because I heard him rapping the song. You know what I mean?
It was also easier. It was also easier with the lack of social media and younger.
The times we were up in,
we were exposed to less.
Mm-hmm. Through that, yeah. We couldn't like bounce opinions and comments and on subreddits and whatnot. Now I'm looking at Neil Gaiman, his subreddit right now, and like people are just completely disappointed in this guy, man. Like his longtime fans, and I hope for his sake it's not true. I hope for his sake it's not true because
I feel like it is, but I also feel like it is, but I also feel like he didn't think he was doing anything wrong.
Yeah,
and that's a whole nother like.
Yeah. I was just about to say like neither did Diddy, neither did maybe neither did Cosby, right? He didn't think he was doing anything wrong.
No, hold on, talk about Diddy definitely fucking knew.
Okay, yeah, Diddy knew. All right, fine.
Diddy knew.
Okay, maybe Diddy knew 85. Maybe Diddy knew 87% of the time that he was doing something wrong. Okay,
87.
I'm sure there was probably a couple percent of the time where he didn't know.
Like another 10% maybe to that.
99.4%.
Yeah.
Not 100. Not 100.
Plausible deniability, right?
He didn't have eyes all over the place, but like, he literally didn't have eyes in the back of his head.
But Kanye though is an example. I think Kanye's he's tricked and he's not very sharp and he's going through some shit up here. I think that like here, racism and Nazi and hatefulness to me it's a mental disorder. So like that shit is like really kind of, I think he's just been kind of tricked into thinking that Nazis are cool. Like
there's no way he got tricked in that. I think he just said something stupid and maybe garnering, trying to look for some kind of attention, and the shit backfired and blew up in his face.
But then you start begging the question, why did he say something stupid?
Yeah, right. Like, why would you?
Like what?
Well, I mean, I guess the same reason that Neil Gaiman, maybe the same reason Neil Gaiman thought this was okay to do. When you get to a certain status of celebrity, you kind of get this air of untouchability when everybody's telling you how great you are and how good you are and how they admire you and how you're so great. And, you kind of get this air of just untouchability. Like I can't do any wrong, anything I do is fine, So I've never been there. I would hope for his sake, Neil Gaiman, that this isn't true because you would hate to see a career go down like this. You've built up this, and for his fans, for the true Neil Gaiman fans who follow his work, don't let this dissuade you from enjoying the work that he has put out before now. You know what I mean? Because you still, when you read American Gods, when you read Sandman, he still gave you that feeling, and that was from his art, from his writing. So don't let this influence how you feel about those works. You know what I mean? Like I still can go back and listen to College Dropout, despite Kanye being a wreck of an emotional wreck of a person today. Like I can separate the art from the artist. So. Hopefully most of Neil Gaiman's fans can do the same thing. Man. It's a totally different thing, We don't know these people. Just because I see Mel Gibson in a movie, I don't know Mel Gibson. You remember that a couple years ago when Mel Gibson had that phone blow up? Remember his girlfriend recorded him on the phone, and he was like yelling at her, calling her a stupid bitch, and I hope you get raped by niggers and all this stuff. You don't remember this shit? She recorded. Yeah. That's
my main. My main reference for Mel Gibson is that. and Payback. Yeah,
The Payback was awesome though. That was a good ass movie.
Payback's my movie. Oh, and also of
Yeah.
course Lethal Weapon. But anyway,
Yeah, of course, Lethal Weapon, all that stuff, Riggs. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I mean, we never would have expected that from, Apocalypto. You know what I mean? Like, we never would have expected that from Mel Gibson if we didn't hear that phone call. You know, like, you had a certain image of Mel in your mind, and you're like, okay, it's Mel Gibson. He seems like a cool guy. Then you hear that phone call, you're like, holy shit. Well,
But
damn.
you see, again, it's that whole, we only see, especially at that time, that era, we only see the actor, right?
Yeah, when was that? Was that like the mid 2000s, somewhere in there? 06,
like
07, somewhere? Yeah.
Something like that. But like, we only see the actor. We only see the characters that the actor is playing, right? Far removed, probably, from their actual persona. We still do it to this day, and we will still do it till the end of time. Right? Like because that's our only exposure to those people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You got to give Diddy his flowers, because Diddy seemed the same in the allegations as he did in the videos. You know what I mean? Like Diddy, there was no separation for Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know about giving him flowers.
He was a bad mother. He was a
Diddy looked like he had baby oil on in half the videos he was in. You know what I'm saying? So like Diddy didn't look like he actually put up no front. Look, he was the same guy.
His dealings with Biggie and all the rappers that came under his wing.
Yeah. All the crazy ass dealings that he had,
all of them. Like, we knew who Diddy was.
Yeah, we knew that motherfucker was, man.
The fact that it was sexual assault and stuff, that's new. The whole Epstein-esque thing he was running.
Yeah,
that's new. But it's not outside of the realm of possibility when I think back to the Diddy I knew in 2005.
And I hate, I always try to look for the humanitarianism in situations. So like, I hate when people try to act like we're so above what these men are doing, right? Like, we can have moral differences, but I've never been in Neil Gaiman's shoes where I'm a best-selling author, famous celebrity. I have women, who are kind of throwing themselves at you. Like, what kind of pressure that puts on, what kind of temptations are there? We don't know if drugs was involved. We don't know if Neil Gaiman does cocaine or anything like that, So I would hate to seem like I'm above these shortcomings as a human. I mean, for all I know, I might have acted the same as well, I was gonna say Diddy, but not Diddy. Maybe I would have acted the same as Neil. You know what I mean? Maybe I would have acted the same as Diddy. I would have had a baby oil subscription.
I think it's like important to ask yourself the question, like, where's my moral lines, right? And like, we're not always gonna be like 100% true to that, but like I think it's important for like a person to like, I tell this to like my friends, my female friends, like all the time. It's like, when you're dealing with the guy, like, have your line, right? Like, niggas will push you as far as they'll go, right? Just kind of how guys are, right? Have your line.
Bring up butter
beforehand.
Say no. Yeah.
Right. The butter's a line. Butter is a line. That's
right.
The line
butter is the line butter? You don't cross.
Where? No. Line. No.
What? Where?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like, always have your line. So I think like it's also important for like guys, like for everybody to have their lines when it comes to like, I don't know, there's temptations all over the world, right? And we'll always be presented with new temptations. Have your line and just like be aware. If you cross that line, you should at least know that, all right, I've crossed that line. But know where your line is. I think it's a whole thing. I don't know, but yeah, that's definitely a thing I try to tell my female friends. It's just like, just be aware.
Well,
like, it's easy
so when did these actually start? I'm seeing July. This go as far back as that? In July, when he first stopped? Before July 2024, Neil Gaiman. Okay, so yeah, July 2024.
The first I heard about it was a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I think you're right. Around July.
And you'd hate to see a career go down like that, but like I said, I didn't know Neil very much, but you know, you have your fan bases from the books. So, you know, I'm sure those guys are very disappointed.
This is the right here I'm reading. This is like, I don't want to read this shit. I'm not gonna read this shit, man. But it's just like, okay, well, like if
so
y'all are
took some hot coals,
Right. I'm gonna drop one down, and you gonna put it where?
well, here, what if it says? All right, what if these says?
At this time of day,
He said. Oh wait, where is it? I said no. You're trying to. She said, and then he asked me if he could come on my face, and I said no, but he did it anyway.
Well, that's not abnormal.
Wait,
that's not abnormal. I don't.
A lot
Yeah.
of stuff happening there, right?
I want you to read the rest of those allegations.
but like again,
Hey, look, I'm thinking no, don't stop.
He's just got like
that's not
powers.
that's not anything to try to. You
no laws have been broken there. You know
right?
what I mean?
Like
He said,
you were
said, "Call
consensually
me
having sex.
master,
He asked you if he
and
could come
I'll
somewhere,
come."
and he did.
He said, "Be a good girl." Like, I don't know.
So he told her, "Be a good girl." Hey, Juice, don't stop, bro. Keep reading this shit. Hold on. He told her to be a good girl, bro.
You gotta send me the little girl. Like, okay.
I need to read that story. That's
weird.
That might be Neil's best novel right there, bro.
It's weird. It's weird. But
well, you know, one thing that the weirdest things with human beings is sexual kinks.
You said,
I mean, people get turned on by anything, man. It's weird, man. People are weird. Like, you know, they get turned on by legs, whatever. Like, it's just you can't judge what people are into from a sexual standpoint, bro. It's just such a wide range of shit, you know.
So we're not judging.
It's crazy.
It's just not out of the realm of possibility to be illegal. I mean, to be.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny how these women are saying this. Like, he did something illegal. Like,
it's not.
He didn't.
It's not. Like, there's nothing wrong. I don't see like anything really wrong here. Like, egregious enough to try to go ahead and try to cancel this dude. Again, we don't know all of the details, but it's still one of those things that there's a lot, like I said before, there's a lot of gray, and I don't know if this is all even worth them bringing it up. Like, that's why I'm thinking about motive and like to what end.
Yeah.
Why are you bringing this up? To get money, to cancel him, to get your 15 minutes? Like, why? Why would you bring? Because all of this stuff is innocuous that I'm hearing, but it's innocuous. Like, it's like there, like you said, no laws have been broken here. So, what's the motive? What's the end game? I don't understand. Where escalation had to happen, you know? Like,
I'm not sure what happened to Juice, man. I'm sure he'll jump back in a second.
Oh yeah, he said he would be back. But like, they're taking it public. Like, they're taking it public, but for what reason? I don't know.
You can only assume that it's some kind of cash grab for these women, right? I mean, from 5,000 to 300,000 to keep quiet, like, that's what you could assume. Maybe they're genuinely offended and they are seeking justice for what they feel is a wrongdoing done to them by Neil, right?
But then they won't have a strong case. They won't have a strong case at all.
But
you know,
it's the same thing. And I know we form different opinions about different celebrities, but it's the same thing with Diddy. There's a lot of gray area there. We don't know what was consensual, what wasn't, what was agreed upon beforehand.
He had a system.
There's a lot of gray area. There's a lot of wiggle room there, man. It is. It is. Hey, I'm cool. Who's going to be at your party, Diddy? Oh, so Snoop and all these other celebrities. Well, yeah, I'll come there. I'll participate. I'll drink. I'll do. You know what I mean? So we don't know what was agreed upon.
Individuals. If you're talking about for the individuals that go there, then okay, I think I hear what you're saying. But if we're talking about Diddy himself, the mastermind, no, there's no gray area.
Diddy had thousands of bottles of baby oil. That motherfucker crazy, bro. He crazy.
Yeah, he had intent. You don't accidentally collect 1,000 bottles of baby
Mm-hmm.
oil.
Well, I
It's not.
accidentally
It's
tripped and
not.
fell into that
This
shit.
isn't
Yeah.
an RPG where you're picking up this random shit and you go like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I got all this shit in my package." No, this is like a fucking. He purchased those.
Yeah, he had a
He
subscription to that
He's
joint.
Full intention of using them.
Yeah.
He stockpiled that baby oil.
Yeah, he knew he was gonna have a party. So, let me get my stockpile, man. But yeah, I was telling Frank and them, man, like like we don't know what, like Frank was saying, these women don't have a strong case, and we don't know what's a money grab, what's like you said, 5,000 to 300,000 to keep quiet. That's a lot of money. Maybe some of these other women took notice of that and said, hey, well, let me get mine too. Let me see what I can get. But whenever artists,
it's like you don't want to think about that, but it's like it's unfortunate because that's a possibility, and I don't think most. And that's the thing. If it is anything along those lines, that is super bullshit for like actual cases where people are being taken advantage of, and you don't want that because that's what people will automatically think about, right?
what's crazy is whenever something like this happens with any kind of celebrity, Neil, Diddy, whatever, anybody in the public space, they have sexual assault allegations, or they're just getting dragged through the media, just name dragged on, and just, oh, I can't believe this person would do this. Like, you ever feel like how embarrassed they are on a personal level? Like, how does Neil Gaiman go out to the grocery store now? You know what I mean? Like, are people just looking at him like a piece of shit? You know what I mean? Like, it's like your life kind of flips upside down, and once where you were revered and respected, like, does that flip on its head? Where now you're like, people are disgusted by you. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe this. That shit, it just has to suck, man. It has to suck. To go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows.
Like the shit I just read. If somebody read that about me, I would be mortified.
Yeah, like, aren't you embarrassed that your sexual deviancy is being put out there for the world to read?
Anyway. Oh, that's so embarrassing.
Damn, they know about the butter thing. Shit, Like, damn. Yeah, you found out.
And it was actually margarine. Fuck.
Yeah, it was margarine. They didn't get it right. Yeah, was it spread? That's a good story. Like, was it a stick of butter? Was it spread? Because the spread comes in the tub. You got to scoop the spread out and spread it over. So, which might actually be better for that situation than a stick. Stick of butter.
But then, if they're spreading it, where's the butter knife? Where'd that come from? Room service, concierge.
Got to use the palm.
You just have it on hand.
He used his pinky. He used his pinky.
Custom-made butter knife.
He was like, "Yeah, I know where I'm sticking this." Yeah,
right? Long nail, right? The long nail, just like
and the crack nail. Yeah, one dip of cocaine, one scoop of butter. That's the cocaine nail right there, man. Anybody who has a long pinky nail, that's the cocaine nail, man. You heard that shit, man.
Yeah, scoop that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So yeah, that was just a fucking story I wanted to talk about, man. This is like super disappointing, but yeah, man, we gotta draw our lines as we see fit. I guess for me, it just comes down to like the level of intent behind the shit they did. Again, I can listen to old Kanye. I can't listen to new Kanye because at this point, I feel like he's fully involved in the Blassie shit.
Well, new Kanye kind of sucks
now.
New Kanye is not the same as old Kanye. Like, he's not the.
So part of it. Also, there's a whole other aspect. It's kind of metaphysical, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Some people say that art doesn't come from the person; it comes through the person. So,
yeah,
maybe it's
that's kind of the same. That's hold on, that's kind of the same. If it comes through the person, then what's the source of the art? It's still the person.
Powers.
There's a higher power. There's a higher power at play that uses the person as a vessel to create the art.
Their higher self.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting metaphysical. But anyway, like, I think there are ways to separate the art from the artist. You just depends. Like, I can't listen to R. Kelly sex songs now. That's weird.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, go back and listen to a couple of them. Go back and listen to a couple of them. I guarantee he was talking to some underage girls in them Jones, man. Just listen to the words, man.
I can't either.
It seems like you're ready. Well, what do you mean? She ain't a grown woman. The grown woman knows she ready or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking to a 15-year-old in that song or something, man. R. Kelly, out of all these guys, Diddy, Neil, I'm sure R. Kelly did that shit, bro. R. Kelly did that shit, bro. It's like Dave Chappelle said when OJ walked away and all his friends looked at each other and said, "Man, that nigga did that shit." You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you is about R. Kelly, man. R. Kelly's guilty, bro. 100%. Like when he flipped out on that interview, I'm sick of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when he flipped out on that interview, where it was a lady
for my life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could tell he was guilty. I'm like, you look guilty, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, you look like you cracking right now.
I'm fighting for my fucking life.
Which is ridiculous to me. Why the hell does R. Kelly be underage women? You're R. fucking Kelly, you know? Whatever.
Anyway, yeah.